Now that we've gone over the set hierarchy as it pertains to the set dresser working with the set decorator and production designer, let's look at set dressers at work. We have a woman here inside a studio mill attending to details being overshadowed in the background by the set decoration of pillars and larger items that they put together. They come in first, the set decorators, to give you that shape again. And here they're going to do an elevator, and they've uh, basically blocked out the different panels for the elevator. And once those are set up, the set decorators will go inside and they'll put the buttons and the staining on the walls and everything like that. But before they do that, the set decorators have to get together and build it, because you don't want to use a real elevator. There's the transportation problem, the noise problem, all sorts of things. And keeping the doors open, you keep the doors open in the elevator too long for a scene, it's going to heat up the cables. The fire department comes when the alarm goes off. So you don't want any of that. You want to build your own elevator in a studio. And so the set decorators put together that elevator. And when it's done and embraced, then the dressers come in and give it the mahogany stain and the look and the flooring of the elevator that we see in the movie. In an action movie, if you have a subway car like this, the decorators will design it and then dress it a little bit, but they'll put together the heavy duty part of it. But when it gets into the big explosive wreck, the rubble and the hanging chaos of that car is a set dressing job to make sure all the scattered burnt items and the hanging cords and everything, all that is set dressing. And here, on a set that's just been put up, where you can see the flats, they've been put together and they've got the color scheme going. Then the dressers come in with the table chairs, the carafes and glassware and all that, so that these guys they've come in right after the decorators and they've set up. So now the camera is on its dolly and its track and it's ready to go, and it's going to pick out areas for the movie that will be featured in the background, so we don't see the top of the flats or anything. So the set deck is giving us that shape, but then set dress will give us the detail that when the camera moves in, we'll see. And it, in this case, with the mobile and the cups and coffee and the art in the background, it gives nice depth to the scene, all dressed out to the diagram. Here we have. Let's look at this woman. She's a set dresser for a horror movie, and she's got her workbench set up with all the implements that she's going to have to create the dressings and for what looks like a horror movie that probably takes place in a basement. And she's got all the tools there. She's got her vices and her saws and her screwdrivers and everything lined up. But I'm just going to go over some basic stuff that when you're on set in an art department, which she would have to have, and a lot of times when I'm working with students, they forget just the simplest things that are important, because they're always going to be asked for in the middle of a scene. Something happened, and the first assistant director will start calling for you to fix something as a set dresser, and you have to have your kit with you. And a primary part of that kit would be Fuller's Earth. Now, Fuller's Earth is a silty, dusty clay that is used to distress and age items on the set. It's easy to put on clothes and cars and props, and you can just blow it off because it's a dust. But the dust will give you that aged, used look. It will give you ways of cutting down reflections by just putting the dust over the parts that are too shiny. But Fuller's Earth is used a lot. It's very light to the touch, and it's very easy to throw on different items. So Fuller's Earth is a big item with the art department, as are Sharpies, because there are so many things that have quickly to be fixed on the set, and they have to do with color, because maybe the joining of the wall didn't fit right, or we see a scratch that needs to be filled in, or there's a glare that needs to be covered. So Sharpies, of course, are used, but crayons are actually more called for when I've been on set, because say you're in a bar scene and we're getting a reflection off the mahogany post that's holding up part of the bar, and that means that usually it needs to be the color, the brown color needs to be dulled down. You get a crayon, you just rub on the brown coloring of the crayon, and that crayon it cuts the color because it doesn't reflect so much. Unlike a Sharpie, Sharpie's all right, but crayons are easy to clean off. But it's also that waxy depth keeps the reflection down. So a lot of times you fill in reflective places or scratches with crayon on set. Fishing line is extremely important because you've been on a set and there's a branch in the way. Now we don't want to cut down the tree because maybe someone owns it or we're environmentally correct. We tie the branch back with a fishing line, which won't be seen on camera because it's translucent. We tie things together that are falling off, bumpers that are falling off, things that need to be quickly tied up that are falling apart. A poster will hang off the wall the wrong way, or a banister will start leaning off the stairs. Whatever it is, we can fix things very quickly with fishing line because it won't be seen on camera because the lighting can be adjusted. And we do this all the time, especially outside when we're tying by plants and other things. So fishing line is just an essential part of the kit, as is paper tape, because paper tape, when you're putting it, when you use it, it doesn't leave that very gunky, gluey residue that gaff tape would do, or Scotch tape. So paper tape, very light tape, doesn't leave marks, used all the time. But if you're going to use fishing line or paper tape, you're going to need scissors. This is what amazes me. Almost every term we'll be doing a shoot, and someone from my art department will come up to me and say, does anybody have a scissors? If you're going to be in the art department, or just in movies anyway, just scissors, you need it so many times for cutting, whether it's a fishing line tape or gaffer tape, whatever it is. People not bringing scissors to the set, it's amazing, but almost every movie I've been on, someone's forgotten scissors. Big part. If you don't have scissors, get the multi-tool. The multi-tool being the Leatherman, which is used by the grips, the gaffers, and the art department. There you have your own scissors, knife, and tweezers in one implement. An essential part of on-set art department, especially with set dressing. So we have our woman doing our horror movie, and she's constructing all sorts of different implements of torture, and look at her bench though. Her bench has got these bins underneath that she can store so many things. Once she's done, she stores them in the bins to clean off the bench. I think that's pretty neat. Here she's got a head. You say, well, what's dressing doing with a head? Well, it's not a set decoration item because it's something that can be easily placed and requires sculpting ability. I mean, here's a set dresser who can actually sculpt a head. This is, she put it in a mold or whatever, but she's going to be responsible for placing that head in whatever grisly scene we've got coming up. And she's also going to mix up the entrails and the blood together for a nice set deck background. Maybe she's going to score the walls with blood, or maybe there's going to be body parts lying around. She's going to sculpt the mayhem and put it as a detail on the set, and then she can put them in different bins here, whether it's so that it doesn't start, the bloody stuff doesn't touch the good stuff. You can see her outfit here. She has to dress up in something like coveralls, not a hazmat suit, but something pretty overall, cover everything, because there's going to be so much blood, gunk, and stuff that's going to be used in the horror movie. She needs to have clothes that really she doesn't care much about. And her first AD is here working with some of her set dressing items and showing that she's in the right mood for the movie. She's appreciative of the fact that this set dresser has given her what she wants, and I think she has a look on her face saying she doesn't want to make the set dresser very angry.